Somebody sent me a video the other day, 16 seconds long. A hand lifts the lid off a toilet tank, drops in a dishwasher tablet, and the next shot is a bowl so white it practically glows. No scrubbing, no plumber, just a tablet and a good night's sleep. And I want you to hear me clearly on this because I have been doing this work for a long time now. And I do not like to yell at people on the internet. That video is about half right. There is a real thing happening in there. The chemistry is genuine. I have used it myself, in my own house, on my own hard water. But the way that video tells you to do it is the exact way that turns a free trick into a running toilet. And a running toilet is the most expensive, quiet sound in your house. So we are going to take that hack apart, piece by piece. I am going to show you the part that works, the part that costs you money, and the way to get the whole payoff without putting a single thing at risk. Because here is the truth of it. That white bowl in the video, you can absolutely get that. You just cannot get it the way they showed you. Let me walk you through it. Number 1. Let us talk about what is actually inside that little tablet, because everything else in this video hangs off of it. A modern dishwasher tablet is not soap. Not the way you think of soap. Pull the wrapper off one, and you have got a pressed block doing 3 or 4 different jobs at once. The main event in most of them is sodium percarbonate, that is oxygen bleach. When it hits water, it breaks down into hydrogen peroxide and washing soda, and that peroxide is what goes after stains. It lifts color, it attacks the organic stuff. It is the same family of chemistry that is in those oxygen powder products you buy for laundry. Then you have got builders in there. Sodium carbonate, sometimes sodium citrate, sometimes a phosphate substitute. Those soften the water and keep minerals from redepositing while the cleaning happens. Then enzymes, protease and amylase, which chew on protein and starch. And then surfactants, the wetting agents which break surface tension so the water actually contacts the surface instead of beating up and sliding off. Now put all 4 of those in a toilet full of water and let them sit for 8 hours. Something absolutely happens. That is not a trick of the camera. The question is not whether it works. The question is where you put it, and that is number 2. And number 2 is the one that separates the people who save money from the people who call me. Verdict on number 1. The chemistry is real. Hold on to that. Number 2. The toilet tank is the wrong place for it. Full stop. Here is why, and I want you to picture the inside of your tank while I say this. Take the lid off, look down. You are going to see a fill valve on one side, a flush valve tower in the middle, and at the bottom of that tower, a rubber flapper sitting on a plastic seat. There is a chain running up to your handle arm. There is a refill tube, and down at the very bottom, where the tank meets the bowl, there is a big, thick spud gasket you cannot see. Every single one of those sealing parts is rubber. Some of them are silicone. Some of the cheap ones are a rubber blend that was never designed to sit in a chemical bath. And that is the thing about a toilet tank. It is not a sink. Water sits in there. It sits in there for hours between flushes. Overnight, it just sits. So when you drop a tablet in that tank, you are not rinsing those parts. You are marinating them. Oxygen bleach is oxidizing by nature. That is the whole job. It grabs onto things and breaks them down. It does not know the difference between a stain on your bowl and the plasticizer in your flapper. Give it enough contact time, and it will pull that flapper stiff. It goes chalky. It loses the give it needs to seal flat against that seat. Ask me how I know. I pulled a flapper out of a customer's tank a few years back that felt like a hockey puck. She had been dropping a tablet in there every couple of weeks because a video told her to. Her water bill had climbed about $9 a month, and nobody could figure out why. Now, here is the part that ought to make you sit up. That flapper is a $5 part, under 10 at any hardware store. The service call to come find out why your toilet is ghost flushing is $150, and that is before anybody touches a wrench. You do not need to spend either one. You just need to not put the tablet in the tank. So where does it go? That is number 3. And number 3 is the whole reason this video exists. Number 3, put the tablet in the bowl. That is the correction. That is the entire fix. And once you understand why, you are going to wonder why anybody ever said tank in the first place. Think about where your problem actually is. Go look at your toilet right now if you want. That ring you are fighting, that brown or orange or gray band riding right at the waterline, that is in the bowl. The dullness down in the trap is in the bowl. The crusty buildup under the rim is in the bowl. None of that is in your tank. Your tank water is clean. It came straight off your supply line, and it never touched anything. People think the tank feeds the bowl, so cleaning the tank cleans the bowl. And technically, the water passes through. But it passes through in about 4 seconds during a flush. 4 seconds of contact time does almost nothing to a mineral deposit that took 2 years to build. Meanwhile, the bowl water sits there all night long, every hour of the night. That is your contact time. That is where the work gets done. So the honest version of the hack is this: same tablet, same overnight, different container, and zero risk to a single rubber part, because there is not a rubber part in the bowl. Between you and me, I think the tank version went viral because lifting a tank lid looks more like plumbing on camera. It photographs better. It is also wrong. Verdict on number 3. Right chemistry, wrong container, and the container is free to change. If this is the kind of thing you want more of, subscribing to the Vintage Pipefitter is free and takes you about 2 seconds. I put out a real repair every week, the practical kind that saves you a service call. Hit subscribe, and the next one finds you on its own. Number 4. Here is exactly how you run the bowl treatment, so you get the result in that video instead of a mild improvement. Start in the evening. Right before bed is perfect. Step 1. Flush the toilet once so the bowl water is fresh. Step 2, and this is the one nobody tells you. Reach down behind the toilet and find the shutoff valve on the supply line. Turn it clockwise until it stops. Then flush the toilet one more time. What happens now is the bowl drains down and the tank does not refill. Your water level in the bowl drops way down. It does not go to 0 because there is a trap under there holding a seal, and you want that seal. But it drops. Why does that matter? Because you just cut your water volume by more than half. Same tablet, half the water, twice the concentration. That is free strength. Step 3. Drop the tablet in. 1 is plenty, 2 is not better, and I will tell you why in a minute. Step 4. Take your toilet brush and give it about 4 seconds of stirring, just enough to start it breaking up. You are not scrubbing, you are dissolving. Step 5. Close the lid and walk away. Go to bed. In the morning, turn that supply valve back on counterclockwise. Let the tank fill and give the bowl one pass with the brush before you flush. That is the whole procedure. The difference between doing it that way and tossing a tablet into a full bowl is night and day, because concentration is doing the heavy lifting. Now, number 5 is where I tell you why some of you are going to do all that and still see a ring in the morning. And it is not because you did it wrong. Number 5. You have to know which kind of stain you are actually fighting, because a dishwasher tablet only beats one of them. There are 2 completely different things that show up as a ring, and they look similar enough that people mix them up constantly. The first is organic. Bacteria, mold, general grime, iron staining from well water. It is usually softer in color, pinkish, orange, sometimes a brown film. It sits on the surface. If you drag a fingernail across it, you feel a little slime or a little give. Oxygen bleach eats that alive. That is a perfect match. A tablet overnight, and that stain is gone. The second is mineral, calcium and magnesium out of hard water. That is limescale. It is white, gray, or a dull, chalky tan, and it is hard. Drag a fingernail across it, and it feels like sandpaper or a shelf. It is not sitting on the porcelain. It is built onto it, and here is the part that matters. Oxygen bleach is an oxidizer. Limescale is not something you oxidize. It is a carbonate, and carbonates come off with acid. Alkaline chemistry against limescale is bringing a broom to a shovel job. So when somebody tells you the tablet did nothing, 9 times out of 10 they had scale and not stain. The good news is the test takes you 10 seconds and your fingernail. Soft and slick, use the tablet. Hard and gritty, you need acid, and I am going to give you the acid method in number 7. Before that, though, number 6 is the spot where I would bet real money you have never looked, and it is the reason your bowl gets dirty again faster than it should. Number 6. Go look under the rim. Take a small mirror, one of those cheap inspection mirrors, or even a compact, and hold it up under the lip of your bowl. Get a flashlight on it. You are going to see a row of little holes running all the way around. Those are your rim jets. Every flush, water comes out of those and washes down the sides of the bowl. That is what actually rinses the porcelain. And in a hard water house, those holes scale shut. Not all at once, one at a time, quietly, over years. I have opened up toilets where 2/3 of those jets were plugged solid with white crust. The homeowner had no idea. All they knew was the toilet did not seem to flush like it used to, and the bowl looked dingy no matter what they did. Of course it did. Half the bowl was not getting rinsed anymore. There is one more opening down at the bottom front of the bowl, angled toward the drain. That is the siphon jet, and it does the pulling on a flush. When that scales down, you start double flushing, which is water and money going out the door. So while you are doing the overnight soak, get in there. A small nylon brush or a piece of stiff wire works fine on porcelain. Clearing those jets does more for how your toilet looks day to day than any tablet ever will. Number 7 is the acid method, and that is for everybody whose fingernail test came back gritty. Number 7. When you have got real scale, you need acid, and you almost certainly already own it. Plain white vinegar. 5% acetic acid. It is weak, it is cheap, and it is completely safe on porcelain, on your seals, and on your septic system. Here is how you use it. Same setup as the tablet method. Shut the supply, flush the bowl down low, and then pour in 2 or 3 cups of white vinegar. Let that sit overnight the same way. In the morning, that scale will have gone soft. It will not have vanished. Vinegar is not that strong, but it will scrub off with a fraction of the effort, and if you run vinegar overnight and a tablet the following night, you have handled both problems in 2 days without buying anything. If years of buildup have vinegar beat, there are stronger products with phosphoric or hydrochloric acid in them. They work. They also demand ventilation, gloves, and eye protection. And they must never be mixed with anything containing bleach, because that makes chlorine gas, and that is a hospital trip. Try vinegar twice before you go there. And do not pour acid products into the tank either. Rubber does not care what the label promises. Number 8 is about a tool that costs about $3 and does what no chemical can. Item 8. Number 8. Get yourself a pumice stick, not a pumice stone off the foot care aisle. A pumice stick made for porcelain on a handle, sold right there with the toilet brushes. Here is the thing about pumice that surprises people. It is softer than vitreous china. That is the glaze on your toilet. So when you use it wet, it abrades the mineral deposit, and it will not scratch the porcelain underneath. The word wet is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Soak the pumice. Keep the surface wet. A dry pumice stick on dry porcelain will absolutely leave marks, and you will be looking at those marks for the rest of the time you own that toilet. Where it shines is that hard rim of scale right at the waterline. The stuff that has been there so long it has a texture to it. Vinegar softens it, the pumice takes it off, and it comes off in one pass. One caution. Pumice is for vitreous china only, not on a colored or enameled surface, not on brushed metal, not on anything with a coating. Between you and me, this $3 stick has saved more toilets from replacement than any product I could name. People look at a bowl with 20 years of scale and figure it is done. It is almost never done. Number 9 is how to tell if that viral trick already got to your flapper. Number 9, let us check whether damage has already been done, because some of you have been dropping tablets in that tank for a while now. 3 tests, all free. Test 1, the listen. Stand near the toilet in a quiet house and just listen for 30 seconds. If you hear a faint trickle or a hiss when nobody is flushed, you have got water moving that should not be moving. Test 2, the dye test, and this is the one that catches everything. Take the lid off the tank. Put a few drops of food coloring in the tank water, or a dye tablet if you have got one. Do not flush. Walk away for 20 minutes. Come back and look in the bowl. If there is any color in that bowl water, your flapper is leaking. There is no other way for tank water to reach that bowl without a flush. Test 3, the touch. Reach in and put a finger on the flapper. Tank water is clean, so do not make a face at me. A healthy flapper feels soft and springs back. A cooked one feels hard and slick, sometimes chalky. If any of those come back positive, you need a flapper. That is a $5 part and a 5-minute job. Shut the water off, flush to drain the tank, unhook the chain, slide the old one off the 2 ears on the overflow tube, put the new one on, hook the chain with a little slack, refill. A silent, leaking flapper can run a couple hundred gallons a day. That is real money leaving your house every single month for the sake of a part that costs less than lunch. Number 10 is how you make sure none of this comes back. Number 10, prevention, and this one is short because it is simple. First, find out how hard your water is. Most utilities publish it, and a test strip kit runs a few dollars. Anything over about 7 grains per gallon, and you will fight scale in every fixture you own. Second, set a cadence instead of waiting for a ring. Once a month, do the overnight bowl treatment. Alternate. Tablet 1 month, vinegar the next. 10 minutes of your time total, and you will simply never see that ring form because you are never letting it get established. Third, if you are fighting scale in the toilet, the shower head, the kettle, and the water heater all at once, that is not 4 problems. That is 1 problem with 4 symptoms, and a softener is the conversation worth having. Fourth, if you find yourself flushing twice, that is your rim jets and siphon jet talking to you. Go back to number 6. That is the 10. But I have got one more, and it is the one I actually use most at my own house. Here is the bonus, and it solves the biggest weakness in everything I just told you. The overnight soak only cleans what is underwater, and your worst ring is usually right at the waterline or just above it, where nothing sits long enough to work. So you make it sit. Take toilet paper, a good handful, and soak it in white vinegar until it is dripping. Then press it flat against that ring, right up on the dry porcelain above the water. It sticks, it stays. Layer it around the whole ring. Now you have got a compress holding wet acid against the exact spot that never gets contact time. Leave it overnight along with your bowl soak. In the morning, the paper goes straight into the bowl, you flush it, and one easy pass with the brush takes off scale that used to take 20 minutes of scrubbing. That trick came from my Uncle Ray. He did it with rags and a bucket on job sites 40 years ago because nobody was selling anything for it. Works the same today, and it is still free. That is how you get the result from that 16-second video without giving up a flapper to do it. Thank you for sticking with me all the way through this one. If you found it useful, consider subscribing to the Vintage Pipefitter. Every week I break down another repair around the house, the sort of know-how that took me 30 years on the job to gather up, explained plain enough to do yourself. No cost to you, and it keeps these walkthroughs coming when you need them most.